Here we are then for the 5th from last race in this career mode. Also, potentially the 5th from last video on this game, as we are here for the US Grand Prix at COTA for round 18 of the Aston Martin Road to Glory. Now, before we jump into the episode, guys, spoiler warning, the last episode, Japan, linked in the top right. Go check it out. But yeah, we are stateside back in the US for the 3rd time this season, and we're looking to hopefully close out the season on a high. So, last race, we had a decent points finish, P9, a great recovery drive, and some excellent race pace, to be fair. And we're looking to hopefully keep that going this weekend at COTA. This has been a good track for me in terms of pace. Not because I enjoy it, but the car has usually performed, so that's a good sign. As for updates this weekend, we've got quite a while between races, so I took that chance to repurchase the 2 pending failed upgrades we had left to do. And yeah, pretty much that is going to be our 2 upgrades for this race weekend. So we're going to be one of the few teams that actually carries a double upgrade. Now, based off feedback in the comments, I thought, you know what, 5 races to go, let's take the shackles off. And you guys have been suggesting to possibly, increase the amount of R&D points I can get. So we're going to go back to full factory settings for the last 5 races and see exactly just how far we can push the envelope and what kind of upgrades we can get going. So yeah, into the race weekend, and we have a ton of rain for qualifying, and I mean a hell of a lot of it, so that should be interesting. Race though fully dry. As for upgrades, you can see not a lot of change really besides us and McLaren, but we do close the gap, and the field spread again getting even closer as we're all kind of evening out around that 700 to 800 value on the left side of the screen. So yeah, things are bunching up, and we'll see how that progresses with the increased R&D points heading forward. Now then, first things first, practice, and we're going to get through it this weekend. Car, as I expected, looking pretty decent. We've got good pace here. This should be a strong weekend for us, and I'm hopeful we can bag a few points, because we've had a pretty miserable run of races, in the midway point of the season. The points finished last time out was a great result and a nice boost, after some really poor races, and I'm hopeful that we can keep it running, especially COTA and Mexico, and then possibly Portimao, which is the outlier here. I don't know what to expect there. Jeddah should be good for us, and Abu Dhabi as well. So it should be a strong end to the season. It's just about hopefully getting that consistency down. So yeah, practice done. Tyre wear was excellent, and also fuel consumption was okay, a little bit on the higher side. We got a really good amount of discounts. Also, not sure if you noticed the amount of R&D points we got, but oh my god, I think about 1,300 from practice alone, which is insane. So a massive boost, and a very welcome boost at that in terms of R&D points. And I can already tell we should be able to hopefully afford an ultimate upgrade in the next episode, so that should be very exciting, and hopefully it arrives quickly so we can get on the car for the last few races and notice an improvement. Anyway, currently qualifying time, rain falling, and we have the extreme wet tyre on, and we're following a Max Verstappen who has just left the pit exit, which was a distraction. Now you'll see here, I just couldn't get the back end to work. I was struggling so badly. Verstappen actually locks up and runs it in deep, which was a distraction into the brake zone, into the hairpin. I kept on pushing, even though it is a very scruffy lap, and making our way down the back straight. Eventually now Max is going to move out the way, finally. As we head onto the brake zone though, you'll see, and this is how the AI work in this game, Max is actually going to re-challenge and stick his nose in, and I have to get out of it. So yeah, annoying, not to say the least, to start off qualifying. Anyway, we finished that miserable lap with a 2-minute lap, and we're going to go for another push lap. We've got fuel for a few laps here. ERS isn't an issue, and tyre wear also is not an issue in these conditions, so we can basically afford to just go round and round and round. Making our way out of turn 2, and we have a huge snap as I'm just literally unable to get the power down, and I'm in disbelief how the car kept on snapping on me there, and I was genuinely annoyed at the lack of balance. Anyway, eventually we made our way back around, and currently I'm actually on a decent lap here, although now I say that, struggling again with the back end through the final few corners. Up until that point it was not a terrible lap. Making our way though into the final corner, and this is going to be our first proper lap time on the board, and it looks like a 1:48.3, which is 18th, and it isn't last, a 10th off Sainz in P16, so we're not a million miles away, to be fair. I'm going to keep going because we have the tyres still and the fuel for it, and we've got just enough for one more. So making our way out of turns 1 and 2, we're actually at 10th up already. Into the S's, trying to attack the curves. Didn't really attack them enough, pretty much any of them to be fair. Making our way through the end of Sector 1 to the start of Sector 2. We have a bit of a moment there, the back end snaps on me, and again, it just goes, and I'm getting really frustrated because I'm putting no power down, no throttle down, and the back end is just not cooperating, which is really, really annoying. Anyway, we went back to the pits, and I'm not, to be fair, that far away. I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to go for the intermediate. I'm just going to roll the dice and just see what happens. I feel like I can't make the full wet work. The car is just super unstable, so let's just go for it. Let's put the intermediate on, and let's just roll the dice and see what happens. So, yeah. This is going to be one and done. Literally no time for another lap. This is it. So we're at the back of the queue, and we're going to hope we can make this tyre work first time of asking. So turn 1 was a little bit sketchy. A lack of grip, at least for now. Trying to get used to the compound. It's pretty sharp on the nose. There's a lot of turning, but there is a lack of back end and possibly braking confidence. So I just had to kind of, feel my way through and know where the limits were. Eventually, once we got through that, I started to feel better. And this tyre actually had more rear grip than the full wet tyre once I kind of got the understanding of how it worked, fully pushed. And you can see here we're finding time now, making our way, albeit snapping away and wobbling on the traction, we're finding time. And we're a 10.5 up into the hairpin. Heading on to the back straight, we get a nice exit and really good traction actually. And we're going to carry that advantage down the back straight. So taking a breather, a 10.5 is quite a lot in terms of the gaps to the car's head. So we could actually get ourselves in the mix here. On the brakes at the 100 meter board, or just before in this case, down to 3rd gear, and I could have taken a bit more inside curb there, but alas, decent exit, so it doesn't really matter too much. And you can see we're 2/10 up on Zhou Guanyu right now, so this is looking good. We make a mistake though, crucially, through the right-hander there, and I just outbroke myself and got nowhere near the apex. Into the double lefts again, didn't really catch the apex there, which is annoying, and the exit wasn't worth the wider line, so we actually lost out, and we've thrown away a 10.5 advantage plus another half a tenth, which makes it 2/10. But now suddenly through here, where we had that snap last time, we're finding the lap time, and we find even more through the final couple of corners, and this could actually get us in the mix. This is going to be close, and could the gamble pay off? On the intermediate, across the line we go. No, it isn't. It's P16, and we just miss out in terms of position, although by time we missed out by a 0.3 of a second. So yeah, to be fair, 2.5 tenths altogether if we're being precise, but I think I could have got it. It would have been close. I think it would have been really close because we basically lost 2 tenths in that kind of double right-hander, double left-hander at the start of Sector 3, which was an issue. Also, Sector 1, Turn 1 specifically wasn't great. So on an optimal lap, it was possible. And I'm actually going to give myself a pat on the back because I don't think I had a chance on the wets, but on the intermediate, we improved and we had a pretty decent pace on that tyre. So yeah, we're going to move to the race and we're going to start from at least P16. We'll see if there's any penalties. And I think we've got a good pace because if we're doing okay in qualifying, especially in the wet, I think we should do okay in the dry in the race. So guys, let's jump into it.
Here we are then in one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, the fabulous Austin in the great state of Texas. The circuit itself, 14 miles southeast of the city centre, has been home to the US Grand Prix since 2012, the latest in a long list of iconic tracks to have that honour. We're racing today then in Travis County, Texas, where 20 corners and speeds of up to 200 miles per hour await us on this magnificent racetrack. It's 60% full throttle with plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. What a race we have in store today. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lando Norris put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he will start from pole position. And Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Russell, Sainz, Charles Leclerc and Ricciardo, Perez, Ocon, Gasly and Alex Albon, Vettel, Magnussen, Valtteri Bottas, Martinez, Verstappen, Mick Schumacher, Guan Yu Zhou and Lance Stroll, Latifi and Yuki Tsunoda, It's almost time for the lights to go out. So let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen? As ever, the threat of unreliability is never far away, and indeed, they'll be starting out of position today due to power unit component changes. It's going to be a difficult task to move forward from there.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a much more aggressive approach today to make up for that compromised start.
So today we have a very interesting race on our hands because we have one of those races where I don't particularly enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of COTA in general or the F1 game, but we seem to have good pace versus the AI, so it could be a great race for us. We're starting from 14th place thanks to a couple of penalties, and we're not too far from the points. Interestingly, the game recommended a soft to medium strategy, which tells me tyre wear is very low. So we're going to start the medium and then go for the hard tyre. We have the option of going onto the soft later if we need it. Also, we can drag the stint out a bit because tyre wear seems to be low. And also, fuel-wise, I'm going on the very safe side, 1.2 laps extra. I want to basically be able to go flat out this race because I think we have pace and I think we've got a chance to have a very decent race. So, besides that, in terms of car setup, I'm going to move the wings back to default, which is what I had before the wet qualifying, which was 38, now back down to 37. And tyre pressure is also back down to what I was using in practice. This seems to work well, gives us a decent balance, and I think we're going to have a decent race. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, my prediction comes true, but I'm going to try and aim for... I'd love a top 6 finish, but I'm going to say top 8, but I'd love a top 6. Either way, let's get into it. As always, a prediction from you guys down below, and let's get into the action. Right, perfect. Let's get to it. Here we go. Underway. Not the best start. Verstappen flies away on the soft, as you'd expect. Key thing here is keeping the medium tyre runners behind. The Stroll goes for the dive and makes it work. Into one, we get overtaken by Schumacher as well, and we are down to 17th place. But unfortunately there, didn't really do much wrong, just, didn't get lucky. Latifi trying to go through there, had to leave a little bit of space as he tries to go around the outside now. Verstappen's got damage, I think, running wide through there. The AI man are just a bit risky, you have to be careful. Let's see if we can be a little bit intelligent here with our racecraft. Verstappen in trouble. Another piece of end plate that was from Mick Schumacher, I think, bashing off the side of Lance Stroll. Seems like we've got a very low straight line speed here, so we're not going to be a threat on the straights. But Verstappen, Schumacher, damaged. Verstappen on the brakes, in a bit hot, and we're now tucked in behind Lance. Just going to send it, although Lance completely turns in and gives me 4 damage.
The underbody's taken a little damage, just watch out for it.
I mean, where's the need for that, Lance? We get cut up by Mick badly. Verstappen stays out, so maybe Max doesn't have damage. He just ran a bit wide. Either way, a disappointing first lap. Gonna have to get the burners on this second lap to try and get within a second and get back with the pack. Well, DRS is enabled and we are not within range. I can't quite catch up, which isn't ideal. And it seems like everyone's actually behaving quite well, so they're all staying in a little pack of cars. No real big breakaways in the DRS train, so yeah, not ideal. We've dropped Lance, that's the least we can do, but I'm using up a lot of battery here and I'm not really making progress. That's 3 laps in a row now, 35.7. Pace is decent, but I just need the AI to battle a little bit. The train has broken up into 2. We've got a leading group and a second group. So the pace, I think, will start to drop now in that second group.
Yellow flag.
Oh, okay.
Okay, be aware there's an incident in the next part of the track. No overtaking through the yellow flags.
Lewis.
Got some information on Hamilton for you. Right, they've got a serious car issue. It looks like they're retiring.
So Lewis out the race, and we're now within DRS range.
Okay, clear.
Don't have DRS just yet, as I wasn't within a second at the detection point, but we'll have it now moving forward, so that's good. We can now recharge the battery, which is on its last legs. Car in the pit lane. Not sure if damage related. Seems an early stop. Pierre in the pit lane. Gasly for AlphaTauri. Ricciardo in as well, so maybe pit stop window opening for the soft tyre runners, so Verstappen could be in soon. That will break up the train a bit, but that will also give us opportunities to make some progress. So important phase of the race now. Important to try and charge the battery up. I'm just going to lose DRS here, I think. And there we go, Verstappen pits. A few other soft runners. So that moves us into P9 for now. Carlos Sainz approaching pit exit. He'll probably realistically not be a car that we're racing today. Important now to get within DRS range of Magnussen, as we've had an absolutely horrible turn 1. That is our pace right now, 35, 8, 7, that's the best I can do. Magnussen matching, if not slightly quicker on that last lap to be fair. So we don't have a ton of pace in clean air to burn. This is kind of where we're at, so I need a bit of AI battling to get within the DRS train ahead right now. To be fair, the worst case scenario has happened here where the midfield pack has merged back into the leading group, so they're all running at lead runner pace again, which is a bit too strong for me to drive into and catch back up. Lando in the pit lane, that's a pretty long soft tyre stint to be fair. That gives us another place. This is one of them frustrating races where I just can't quite keep up or catch up. If I could just sit in that train, I'd be so much more comfortable, but I just don't quite have the pace, and they're also just a bit too slippery in the 2 DRS zones for me to catch back up. I'll lose too much time in the straights. So yeah, we're in a really awkward situation now, and I'm out of battery, so this really isn't great. I'm going to box and try to go for the undercut. I don't usually do this, but I'm going to give it a crack because I can't overcut when I don't have any DRS or I'm not in any DRS train to, you know, run at a higher pace. So we'll try the undercut and we'll see if we get lucky. Hopefully the hard tyre lights up fast and we can get some real good pace going, and we'll give it a shot. I don't have a lot of battery to work with, which is also a bit of a concern. Good stop though, 2.4. We're going to be behind this group of cars, but crucially some clean air.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
To be fair, that whole pack of cars is going to be in the mix with the pack of cars we was chasing, so it's all going to converge and line up. But yeah, let's get to work on this tyre and try to switch it on. So Lance in the pit lane. Everyone's in. Hopefully a couple of cars get held. That will also cost a bit of time. Really good outlap though. Very happy with that. Got the tyre switched on straight away. And there is a few cars in the pits, but crucially the ones we were battling still ahead of us, namely Magnussen. Oh, here we go. Not sure what's happened, but a few cars have broken away from the train, and we're now going to get a little bit of DRS and a little bit of respite. I'm going to get Magnussen around the outside, who's on a semi-cold hard tyre. I don't have the straight line speed for this, or the battery, but you know what? I've only got one chance to get this position, so I'm going to take it. Okay, Mag in a bit hot, almost T-bones Pierre. But we're going to go in and go through. Nice. Gasly with a bit of a moment there. Let's see if I can pass him. Latifi in the pits for Alpine. Through we go. Contact on the way in, but just like Stroll, Gasly turning into me there, even though I was coming through. Right, P12. Ricciardo next up. I feel a lot happier in this car. Not sure if Ricciardo has to stop again, but I feel a lot quicker. Decent pace, 35.2. Russell in the pit lane. That could be a possible second stop. Also a Ferrari in as well, which moves us into the top 10. So, not sure now. I'm really lost in terms of strategies and those who start on softs and who start on mediums. Either way, we're in the points, and that's what matters. I might just be able to look at Ricardo here. Had a good exit out the hairpin. Get stopped. Lovely. We'll hold that inside line. There's no way he's going around the outside there. Nice. Let's see if we can try and clear these next 4 cars. I'll be happy with that. I think someone just pit. Not too sure. Yep, Bottas in. And Verstappen. So that moves us into P7. We're going to the end here, so I have no idea where we are. But this is excellent. No DRS there, so we're going to have to close it on Seb. Both Williams cars running in the top 4, which isn't ideal. Or in the top 6, should I say. Both Williams cars in the top 6, making a late push. I think we can pass Seb, I just don't know if we're going to pass Checo. Can't need Checo to look at Albon.
Okay, information on Sainz. They're retiring from the race.
Another yellow.
Okay, watch your pace. We've been informed the safety car is out. There appears to have been an issue with multiple stock vehicles on the track.
Who is it? No one ahead? Or is it ahead? I can't tell. I think it's a McLaren. Yeah, Ocon's second. The McLaren's dropped to third, so I think the McLaren's had a spin. No point in pitting though. We're going to stay out, of course. We've got decent track position, and if we pit, we're probably going to lose that. Although, to be fair, it's not impossible. We could make it. It'd be tight, but we could make it. But I'm not going to take that risk. We've got good enough pace that I can hold on. This is going to be an interesting end to the race. We have Seb P6, Albon P4, and Ocon P2. They're going to be the real key factors here. I think Leclerc's going to run away with it. Norris, I'm hoping, will put some pressure on Ocon, and I'm hoping Perez can put some pressure on Albon. And then if things start to happen, the dominoes will fall into place, and we can hopefully look for a move ourselves. Well, safety car in this lap. Let's see how it affects the race. Full battery charge, which is very much welcomed. Going to be tough to compete with these guys on the straights on these first 2 restart laps, but we're going to get 7 laps of racing action. So I'm trying to get some tyre temperature, especially the rears. I'm a little bit low. Well, let's see. We'll get a little burnout on the go. And get ready for the restart. Not a bad exit.
Track is clear, green flag.
We just don't have straight line speed, man. I was looking to challenge Seb there, but not quite able to get the top end speed down. Anyway, let's try and push here. Important phase of the race. Great hairpin. No DRS. But we are within range to put some pressure on Sebastian Vettel for P6. Up the inside we go. And that's a nice clean move. Albon already struggling to hang on to the pace. I wonder if we can pass Checo here. Oh, that was excellent. Very good S section. Hairpin though. Exit at least. Letting me down. And Checo's actually holding his own. I think Checo has got some slight wing damage. Visually he struggles through there massively. Let's see. Exit not too shabby, but again I'm not quite close enough. Oh, Red Bull's got some serious straight line speed, man. So good through there. Checo massively struggling. Okay, that's better. Don't have a lot of battery to work with, but we're closer. Let's go. Perfection. Had to time that. I didn't want to T-bone Albon. I was right on the money. Let's go. Now we can try and get that P4. I don't think we're going to make it. The AI are now going to go full power. Also Norris unable to pass Ocon. Oh, Albon there with a poor exit. This might be my one chance. That might be the invitation. Let's go. Got lucky there. Got one chance, and luckily we took it. Albon, now you can see in full power. He's not giving this up. Decent enough exit. Got a 5-10 gap to Albon, but oh my god, look at the closing speed. Gonna have to defend here. Gonna match up on the brakes. And there we go. We just hold on. Ocon also holds on to a brilliant P2, which is really annoying. The one race we perform, Ocon performs with us and does even better. But anyway, Leclerc's going to win, and this is a nice little result to kind of almost close out the season really. And some well-earned points after a tough run of form in the mid-patch of the season, has to be said. We're going to deliver a fabulous P4, which is a great haul of points. Very happy with that.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
They take the checkered flag then here in Austin in what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit, familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari, do it again.
So Charles Leclerc is your victor today at the Circuit of the Americas. Esteban Ocon P2 with a result that I think is pretty much going to mean the end in terms of our pursuit for P5 in the Constructors' Championship. That could be the nail in the coffin. Lando third, we finish in a fantastic fourth place, has to be said, ahead of Albon, and also P7 for Sebastian Vettel Williams with some big points here today. Perez splitting the two, and then Ricciardo, Magnussen and Verstappen scoring the final point. Russell with the fastest lap of the race, Stroll down in P13. Let's look at the standings though, because this is where we'll know where we are. So Hamilton is 18 up the road. Ocon actually overtakes him, and they're equal on points right now. So we're 18 points away from a Mercedes, which is pretty insane. We're going to finish P10 now. Mathematically, it's not secure, but I mean, barring a miraculous turnaround from any one of the cars behind, we're looking pretty safe in P10. So a top 10 finish is excellent news for us. In the Constructors, we are 6th, and the gap to Alpine now pretty much 40 points. So yeah, we're going to need a big final few races. To be fair, the sliders being reset might just give us a chance, and also Stroll might actually be able to give me a hand, but it might be too little too late. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed that race and that comeback. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more. I still don't know how we got P4 that race. The strategies were so mixed up and confusing. I don't know how it happened, but it happened and we secured the bag. So very happy with that one guys. As always, a big shout out to the channel members. Check out the 2 videos on screen guys if you haven't seen them already, and I'll see you all in my next one. Take care, and let's go back from here.